Hello, my name is Cassandra O'Brien, and this is my integrated mini lessons unit with art education as well as the different subjects of social studies, language arts, math, and science. The title of the painting I'm using is called A Meeting. It's by Maria Baskishev. She is from the Ukraine, which is modern day Russia. My first lesson, in order to introduce the painting, would be my social studies lesson. After introducing the painting with the students, talking about the artist, where she is from the Ukraine and she developed her love of art at the age of 14, and she was satisfied with her work but wished she could do more. And unfortunately, she passed away the illness at 25. But her most famous piece of art was A Meeting, which will be integrated into all the lessons. So I incorporated art history into this lesson due to the painting itself. The painting itself is in the Industrial Revolution time, with boys surrounding each other in a circle. Looks like they're talking while someone else is in the background walking away from them. Now, in the Industrial Revolution, there was child labor. So children were forced to work for very little money and very long hours, and they didn't have as many freedoms as they do in modern day society. So that is why I chose for the standard SS4C62, which is to explain the freedom of speech and why it is important. So the objectives are to explain the freedom of speech and importance, and to compare it to from modern day to the Industrial Revolution time. So students are going to be assessed with a graphic organizer, which they will compare the modern day and to the Industrial Revolution time when it comes to the different freedoms that they have, most importantly, the freedom of speech. For example, the modern day, you can talk freely with your friends, and in Industrial Revolution times, since you were working, you wouldn't be able to talk as freely because there can be a chance of being fired or worse. For after that, they will complete a ticket out the door. The ticket out the door is to explain why freedom of speech is so important, and this will assess on an individual level the ability to obtain the objectives. My second lesson will be a language arts lesson, which will incorporate aesthetics. Aesthetics or feelings about the painting that you can have. So when I first saw this painting, I got the feeling of back in high school being in a play called the Triangle Shirtwaist Company. And I was in the fire, and I was during the revolution, the Industrial Revolution time, and it made me have different emotions of bittersweet memories. So that is why I chose this painting. But the painting itself would have a trigger memory or have the students think about different aspects. So I chose the standard ELA GSE 4W3. This is writing a narrative, and it's developing characters or experiences that they can have. So I will have, and also I will use the standard of the artistic process. The objective is to discuss the feelings with the aesthetic questions, which is, do you like the painting? Do you not like the painting? How does this painting make you feel? What do you like about it? What don't you like about it? And students will get into small groups, and they will discuss these questions with an assessment of the rubric, which is, are they participating? Are they answering to the best of their ability? Are they able to distinguish between these different aspects of these aesthetic questions? Then my second objective is to compose a story related to the feelings. So the students will get a rubric for this point for assessment, with being able to use a short story and create it and able to show the understanding of the story elements of having to put their feelings in the story, how to put their feelings about the painting in the story, and using the painting itself to complete the story. My third lesson will be a math lesson, which will also be incorporated with art criticism. I used the standard MGSE for MD6, which is to be able to use a protractor when it comes to calculating the angles of different aspects of the painting itself. So the reason why I chose this is because in the background there's buildings, and the buildings have very straight lines, so I can see different angles of the geometric shapes in the painting itself. So I will use the artistic process and incorporate it for the objectives, which is discuss the art criticism, which is describe, analyze, interpret, and judge, as well as measure the angles of the portions of the painting. So to assess this, I will have a rubric, which is the jigsaw strategy. The students will be able to take this strategy, get into groups, and discuss one component of the art criticism, which is either describe, analyze, interpret, or judge. Once they mastered that question, they are going to break up and get into different groups. So one person that was describing will get into a group with the people that were analyzing, interpreting, and judging. All four of them are going to be together, and they will discuss again, each listening to each other as they fully do art criticism on this painting. There will be a rubric to assess them at an individual level to see if they are participating, able to understand their mastery, the question, and able to anticipate discussing with, able to discuss with their other group members in order to be fully engaged. My graphic organizer will be used to assess the math portion with getting the angle, describing the angle, which is acute, right, or obtuse, and being able to identify where on the painting this angle is. My last lesson will be a science lesson, which will incorporate an art project. My science standard is S4 CS1, which is to be aware of curiosity and having the students be able to interpret things when it comes to life and everything, having them be able to be curious and honest and to be skeptical of things. So I use the objectives of comparing and contrasting ideas of technology from 1800s to modern day, using their curiosity to be like, I wonder why, these things weren't invented yet, and if they were invented, how could they help the boys with their meeting? I will also have them use their imagination when it comes to their own art project, which is using the artistic process for them to create this art project. They're going to be assessed with a rubric with a Venn diagram, which will be between modern day technology as well as the 1800s technology, to see what the differences are and be curious and skeptical of why these differences are. And then I will have the rubric for their imagination of creating an invention that can be used to help with the meeting. The boys have to be secretive because it is Industrial Revolution time, and if the students need to create a technology that can help them with their meeting by being inventive of making sure that it's kept a secret, like a cloaking device, or making sure that no one can hear them. So the students are going to be assessed based on their imagination. So if someone just invents a telephone, they're not going to score very well because, well, the telephone's already invented. Even though it wasn't around in the 1800s or during the Industrial Revolution time, that doesn't mean that they should draw a telephone and be like, oh, that's my invention, because Alexander Graham Bell already did it. So they need to use their imagination, be creative, and be able to assess. Then that's where you obsess. So this is my integrated lesson unit. I hope you enjoyed the video. Have a great day.